Good morning, my dear students. Myself Triveni, Department of Chemistry. I am going to start new chapter Photochemistry. Before going to start Photochemistry, please note down the points which I referred in each slides. Please note down that points. So in this Photochemistry, I gave informations about the introduction. So let us start with introduction. In this video, I gave some introductions about photochemistry and difference between thermochemical process and chemical process, physical process, and the difference between phosphorescence and fluorescence, how the excited states occurs in a chemical process, how the excitations of the atoms, molecules, electrons takes place from ground state to excited state, and laws of the photochemistry. Welcome to all. So let us discuss. So let's start with introduction. Photochemistry. Photochemistry, it is defined as it is a branch of chemistry which deals with the process involving emission or absorption of radiation. Means it is a branch of chemistry deals with the process involving emission or absorption of the radiation. Means while the studying of emission or absorption of the radiation of an atom, we call it as a photochemistry. It is a study of interaction of electromagnetic radiation of matter resulting into the photochemical changes or into the chemical reaction. So what is meant by photochemistry means it is a study of interaction of electromagnetic radiation. So interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter. Matter means it is a particle. So either it may be molecules or atoms which the interaction takes place with the electromagnetic radiation. So resulting in the changes in the process, physical changes it may be occurs or chemical reaction. So chemical reaction means what is the chemical reaction? Means either it may changes in the acids to base, base to acids, or chemical process, melting chemical process occurs due to the isomerism or chemical process, the catalysis. Either the reaction takes place between the reactant to the products, either the movement of the molecules. These are the chemical reactions. The changes when the electromagnetic radiation absorbs in a molecules. What is the chemical process changes? We are studying this photochemistry. And what is the physical changes? Physical changes means it may be density or variations of boiling point or melting point. Some other physical process when the molecules are absorb the radiation, the changes between the physically or chemically takes place. So the interaction between the chemical radiations and interaction between the atom or molecules when absorb the radiation, the changes occurs between the molecules. The changes may be physical or chemical process. The reactions is called as photochemical reaction. So what is meant by photochemical reaction? It is nothing but it is a reaction in which we study the interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter resulting in the changes in physical and chemical reaction. Or it is a branch of chemistry which deals with the study of emission or absorption of the radiation. We call it as photochemistry. Then how many types of reactions are there? There are two types of reactions are there. First one is photophysical process and second one is photochemical reactions. So how many types of reactions are there? There are two types of reaction. First one is photophysical process and second one is photochemical process. So what is meant by photochemical process? This process takes place in the presence of light but do not involve in any chemical reactions. What is meant by photochemical reactions? The process takes place in the presence of light. In the presence of light means when molecules absorb the light, with there is no chemical changes occurs but physical changes occurs. What is the physical changes means? When the molecule absorb the light, The substance allow the emission of absorbed light. The instant emission of absorbed light we called it as a fluorescence. The amount of energy is absorbed. The electron may leave the atom completely. Such we called as a photoelectric effect. The photochemical process involves fluorescence, phosphorescence and photoelectric effect. So, do you understand how many types of photochemistry reactions are there? Two types, photophysical and photochemical. Photophysical andre when the light absorb the when the substance absorb the light, the physical changes occurs. So, physical changes means when it is the molecules or electron present in the ground state, it excited to the higher energy level. Then the excited ground state is a stable state, excited state is a unstable state. So, when the molecule and electron present in a excited state, it returns to the ground state. So when it returns electrons from higher state to lower energy state, the return electrons move from higher energy level to lower energy level, or electrons move from excited state to ground state, we called it as a fluorescence. Do you understand what is meant by fluorescence? When the electron present in the molecule which when it is shifted to the excited state from ground state and then excited state to the ground state, we called it as a fluorescence. Fluorescence means because ground state is a stable state, excited state is an unstable state. So, the electron which does not leave some more time in excited state, so it leaves excited state and move downwards to the ground state. So, movement of the electron from excited state to ground state, we called it as a fluorescence. So, what is meant by phosphorescence? From excited state it returns to the triplet state. Triplet state means, what is meant by triplet state? The interconversion of the electrons between the molecules, we called it as a triplet state. So, from the triplet state to ground state, the excitement of the electron from triplet state to the ground state, we called it as a phosphorescence. So, these changes we called it as a photophysical process. Another process is photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect means if the high amount of energy is absorbed from the electrons, electron leaves the some amount of electron or the the atoms completely electrons. The high amount of energy is absorbed, the electron may leave the atom completely. Such process we called as a photoelectric effect. So, ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ. ಸೊ ಎಷ್ಟು ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಫೋಟೋಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಟೂ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್. ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್, ಅನದರ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್. ಫೋಟೋ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವುದು? ಫೋಟೋ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಫ್ಲೋರಸೆನ್ಸ್, phosphorescence, photoelectric effect. So, second one is photochemical process. Photochemical process means this is the reaction takes place by the absorption of radius of suitable wavelength. In such process, the absorbed light energy is stored in the molecule and then it is bring to the reactions. Means, for take an example, HCl. So, H2 molecule plus Cl2 molecule, when it absorbs the light, it converted into the gaseous state, means it converted in the two molecule of the HCl. So, when the molecule absorb the light, it completely converts the molecules, and while absorbing the radiation, the chemical process occurs, means two gaseous molecules, hydrogen and chlorine gaseous, it is converted into the HCl liquids gaseous state. So, two molecules of the HCl molecules. So, this complete overall changes of the reaction, we called it as a photochemical reaction. So, what is meant by photochemical reaction? The reaction takes place by absorption of radiation with suitable wavelength. When with suitable radiations, the absorption of the electrochemical reaction, the absorption of the light takes place with the suitable reaction. So the reactionally amount of light will be absorbed to convert the each separate molecule into the each equal gaseous molecules. This we called it as a photochemical reactions. So first one is photochemistry. It is a study of interaction between the electromagnetic radiation with the matter, resulting in the physical changes or into the chemical reaction. So what are the reactions in the photochemistry? Means there are two types of reaction: photophysical reaction and photochemical reaction. Photophysical reaction means there are three types: fluorescence, phosphorescence, photoelectric effect. Chemical reactions means either it may be catalytical change or two gaseous molecules into single two molecules of gaseous molecules, conversion of the reaction while observing the light. We call it as a photochemical reactions. Then let us discuss with the process. There are two process takes place in the photochemistry. First one is primary and next one is secondary process. So for primary process, one molecule is excited into the into an electronical excited state by the absorption of proton, and it is undergo the number of different primary process. Photochemical process are those which excited species dissociates, isomerize, rearrange or react with the another molecule. So ನಿಮಗೆ already ಹೇಳಿದೆ what is meant by photochemical process means the chemical reactions takes place either by the excitations of a species. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, dissociation takes place, isomers or rearrangements or reaction with the another molecules. So one molecule excited into the electronical excited state by the absorption of the photon, it undergo the number of different process, chemical process. So andre first ground state, then excited state. From ground state to excited state, there is a lots of difference in ground state and excited state. So what's the difference between ground state molecules to excited state molecules? Means there is a chemical process and physical process changes takes place between these two. The chemical process are the changes are dissociation, isomerization, rearrangements are combinations of the another molecules. These are the chemical process changes takes place between these two. And what are the photochemical process changes takes place means the radiation transitions in which the excited molecule emits light in the form of fluorescence or phosphorescence and returns to the ground state, and the intermolecular non-radiative transition in which some or all the energy absorbed photon is ultimately converted to the heat. Means photochemical process it consisting of fluorescence, phosphorescence and photoelectric effect. When the molecule present in the ground state, it is very stable, but when it absorbs the light, it moves to the higher energy level by absorbing, and then by emission of the light it moves to process from higher energy level. It leaves excited state and returns to the ground state by the emission of some amount of energy. The process of ground state to excited state and excited state to ground state, these changes we studied, it called as a fluorescence, and interconversion of single into triplet, and interconversion of triple state to the ground state we call as a fluorescence. These changes we study in physical process. So let us start with primary process. When the molecule is excited into the electronically excited state by absorption of photon, it undergo number of different primary process. First one is photochemical process, second one is photophysical process. Photochemical process is the process those which excited species dissociate, isomerize, rearrange or react with another molecule. We called it as a photochemical process. So photochemical process, when the species is present in the excited state, The species means if the molecules or electron present in the excited state, it dissociate, it isomers, it rearrangement takes place or reacts with another molecule. The overall process we call it as a photochemical process. The physical process means the excited molecules emits the light in the form of fluorescence. ಅಂದರೆ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಎಕ್ಸೈಟೆಡ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಕ್ಸೈಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಗೆ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಟ್ ಎಮಿಟ್ಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಆರ್ ಎಮಿಟ್ಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಟ್. ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಫ್ಲೂರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫಾಸ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಟು ದ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್. ಮತ್ತು ಎಕ್ಸೈಟೆಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಂದ ಅದು ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ನಾನ್ ರೇಡಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಷನ್ ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ some or all energy of absorbed photon is utilized and converted into the heat. ಯಾವಾಗ ಇಷ್ಟು ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಮ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರೇಡಿಯೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಮಿಟೆಡ್, ಸಮ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರೇಡಿಯೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್, ಏನು ರೇಡಿಯೇಷನ್ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೋಟಾನ್, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಹೀಟ್, ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿಯಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ದೀಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್. So what's the difference between thermochemical reaction and photochemical reaction? So thermochemical reaction means these reaction involve absorption or evolution of heat, means it absorb the heat and it it emits the heat. We call it as a thermochemical reaction. What is the photochemical reaction means? The reaction involve absorption of light, only the light, the absorption of light. Here the absorption of heat, here the absorption of light. So in thermochemical reaction they can takes place even in dark means in without light. The reaction also takes place without light. We call it as a thermochemical reaction. But in photochemical reaction it must contain the light. The presence of light, the chemical process takes place. We call it as a photochemical reaction. Next point, the temperature has significant effect on the rate of thermochemical reaction. Here the temperature is very important. So here the temperature has little effect. The rate of reaction, the photochemical reaction depends on light. Instead of the intensity of light has more effect in this reaction, in this process. So next one is the free energy. The free energy means the thermochemical reaction is always negative. Here the free energy, the photochemical is always, it always not be negative, it may be positive or negative. Here these accelerated in the presence of catalyst, but it is initiated in the presence of photosensitizers. Maybe it acts as a catalyst. So what is photosensitizer? Which increase the rate of reactions. We call it as a photosensitizer. Some example. So ನೀವೇ ಅದನ್ನು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್, ಇದನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ವಾಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ thermochemical reaction and photochemical reaction? So thermochemical reaction means these reactions involve the absorption or evolution of the heat. Photochemical reaction is the reaction involve absorption of the light. Here is heat and here is light. So in thermochemical reaction it occurs in dark place also, but here photochemical reaction light is very important. So next, thermochemical reaction is temperature is efficient, it alter the rate of reactions, either it may be increasing or decreasing, it directly proportional to the temperature, thermochemical reaction. So in this photochemical reaction temperature is not necessary, but instead of temperature light is important. The intensity which increase the photochemical reaction, increasing the intensity of light, photochemical reaction also increases. By decreasing the intensity of light, photochemical reaction also decreases, means it is directly proportional to the intensity of the light. The rate of photochemical reaction, in photochemical reaction the intensity of light is directly proportional to the photochemical reaction. Here the temperature is directly proportional to the thermochemical reaction. So next, the free energy delta G, the change of free energy, in the chemical reaction, thermochemical reaction is always negative. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, it is always negative, but the free energy delta G in photochemical reaction may not be negative, it may be positive or it may be negative. So next one, they are accelerated by the presence of the catalyst. Thermochemical reaction may be altered, and we can alter the accelerated means we can increase or decrease through the catalyst. By adding the catalyst, we can alter the thermochemical reaction. Either it may be any any compounds we can add as a catalyst, and in a thermochemical reaction will be altered. But here in a photochemical reaction, the electron the reaction initiated by the presence of photosensitizer. First, photosensitizer itself acts as a different catalyst. Give example for photosensitizer. In next video I will give some details about photochemical sensitizers or photosensitizers. Photographic method, film ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ cadmium, ಕ್ಯಾಡ್ಮಿಯಮ್, ಲೆಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಡ್ಮಿಯಮ್, ಜಿಂಕ್ ಕ್ಯಾಡ್ಮಿಯಮ್, ಇದೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಕೆಟಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಫೋಟೋ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಶೀಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಟೆಲಿವಿಷನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಫೋಟೋಗ್ರಫಿಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಫ್ಲೇಮ್ ಶೀಟ್, ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪರೆಂಟ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಡ್ಮಿಯಮ್ ಮತ್ತು ಜಿಂಕ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಡ್ಮಿಯಮ್ ಜಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಕೆಟಲಿಸ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಬೈ ಪಾಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಲೈಟ್ it reflects the light. So that's why the radiation will reflects to our eye, the visible, it occurs visible. So it is called as a photosensitizer. In photochemical reaction, the photosensitizer itself acts as a different catalyst, different ways of the catalyst. This is the major difference between photochemical reaction and the thermochemical reaction.